Hello.
All right. That was electric. I don't know. I don't know if that looked as good on camera as it did in my mind.
Yeah.
All right. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another iteration of the pod. We've got a guest in studio. We've got Adrian Sousa of RabonaTV. Welcome back to the show. It's been a couple of years. First time face to face. I opened the door for you to let you into my parents' house before leading you down to my apartment in my parents' basement. My apartment studio.
I was expecting you to just say I led you down to the basement.
And I'm just trying to keep it 100, you know. and he had a red jacket on with a popping green shirt and beautiful shades, and he was looking the opposite way, like looking at the street, and he turned.
Yeah.
Like
kind of like I did at the beginning.
Kind of like in the intro. Yeah, exactly. It's what I thought. See, so but like what the viewers just saw was what was playing in my mind.
Okay.
Because there was like a half second of like hesitation before you turned around. Mm-hmm. Like our eyes met, but you had shades on. I wasn't sure if like I was reeling. I was flustered. I was blushing a little bit.
Yeah.
You know when like a half second feels like it's drawn on a little bit, like in real time.
Yeah.
It feels like it's longer than it is. Mm-hmm. That's what that felt like in my mind. Like a Portuguese guitar was being strummed, and you know, you turned around, and I was like, oh, here he is.
It was a cinematic moment.
Yeah, it was on a Monday. I was like, he's not fucking around. You're dressed for the city. You're in the suburbs now. You were saying you've never been out here.
No, but I mean, it's rare that I actually get out of my house. So the opportunity to put normal clothing on as opposed to just like an assortment of sweatsuits is exciting for me.
Yeah, like I'm wearing right now. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
this is my uniform.
Typically. Yeah, exactly. I'm dressed like Polly Walnuts right now. So, back in the motherfucking studio, Tristan Di Lorenzo without a microphone. He's mute. We're gonna try to rectify that next week with a torn ACL. Dilo, what's going on? You're kind of monitoring the situation right now. We might have you pull up some goodies, but what's happening? You have no microphone. You can come in. I mean, do you want to still stay anonymous? We could pass the camera. We could pass like the mic to you off camera. What's up?
Let's keep it like this for now.
Yeah? You could yell if you want to be heard because your mic isn't picking you up. What's the verdict? Torn ACL. Okay. Here's my thing is we were talking about this before. You don't really need an ACL. Like, because we hear torn ACL. You hear, you know, whatever. You hear your player on your team tore his ACL, and you think, oh, my God, what the fuck? It's terrible. You don't really need an ACL. It's bad for him.
No.
But, you know, Dilo could continue to produce this podcast till death do us part, and he doesn't need ligaments in his knee.
No. I mean, you really don't need an ACL. I think, like, Zlatan, at least one of the times he did his ACL, just walked off the field. You know? You did that, didn't you? Yeah, exactly. You just walked off.
You drove home.
I didn't know.
Drove home. Just thought it was like a bad twist or something like that. Yeah. You don't need an ACL. You can go years without it. And there's a reason why people don't get it done is because their rehab is like insane, apparently.
Yeah. It's like you know, not proposing to your girlfriend because you just put it off. Well, you know, if I don't propose, I don't have to get married. If I never get the operation.
There's too many tasks that come after that.
Yeah. What's your wedding planning been like with your Italian bride to be?
You know what's funny is I was thinking about that on the way over here because the last time I was on, I remember you asked or I said like I have like a girlfriend fiance thing, and you're like, you got to define that. Like this doesn't make sense. And she after the podcast was like, you made it sound like you're against your will in this relationship or something.
I get that all the time.
You know,
all the time. I always get that.
Like because you don't even know what I am.
But it's what I'm doing. Like you're a lot more well-spoken than me, I think, in that you're more thought out and polite. And when I watch your videos, I just think he's got like this buttery voice, but it's your tone too. You know, I'm yelling and stuff. I'm going off the dome, and I'm going for like absurdity and comedy a lot of the time. Yeah. And with your girlfriend, you take a shot sometimes, and you hit a grand slam or you strike the fuck out. Yeah. You know, you very rarely will you just get a walk, in, a 2-run. Jesus, that's the baseball analogy. like a 2-base, hit. Yeah. It's very rare. It's either like she laughs or she doesn't. There's very little chuckle. No, it's all in or not. So either she laughs on the pod or it goes the other way, and it's why did you say that? Why did you word it that way? Yeah. So I wouldn't worry. In fact, the fact that I'm bringing this up right now might ironically
be brought up later.
Yeah. It might not. I don't know. Depends. She might be laughing right now. I could have just hit a grand slam. That's the point. I wouldn't worry too much about that.
As far as the planning of the wedding goes, though, it's easy. I'm lucky in that her dad actually works in like the Montreal wedding industry. So we're just like subcontracting, like take care of this, take care of this. It's like the most stress-free wedding I could imagine.
Yeah.
Of course, this isn't my second wedding or my third or something. Like I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
But as far as first experiences go, we're
Yeah.
laughing, man. It's
Yeah.
easy. It's easy. I mean, they're part of the Italian community as well. So they got a guy for food. They know a guy for this. They know a guy. They got a guy. All kinds of things like that. How
That's the
close
way-
do we want to go?
This is good. Yeah. Just like in the pocket.
Okay. Yeah. So
Only
hit
got-
the speed bag.
Only got one camera. Yeah. No, I mean that's cool. I think that she was raised in the wedding, in the event planning space. Does he only do weddings or does he do
Events.
like other events?
Events in general. He has like a big like wedding band. You've probably even seen his band play at a wedding before.
Yeah, here's the thing. So here's the reason. What does he do? Is he a musical guy or?
Yeah, they have like a big band.
So
like
he works in that world.
Yeah, he's like the front lead singer, but he also like produces.
Yeah.
For in the wedding industry as well.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole underbelly of its own. You got these guys that'll MC fucking events and weddings, and yeah, Joe and Mary's wedding, or like a New Year's party at like a hotel reception hall. Yeah, those are huge. The reason that it's so efficient is because it's just rinse and repeat. It's the same veal scallopine that gets served every. I'm not kidding. I could tell you what the options are. There's gonna be a roast potato, a little rosemary, some kind of rapini, broccoli rabe, or whatever. Might be like a salmon or like a chicken or maybe like a veal option. That's usually about it.
Some sort of pasta in there.
Rinse and repeat.
to
Yeah.
start.
It's usually rinse and repeat. Yeah. What are you doing? You doing a vegetarian option?
No, we're not even doing like a full dinner thing. So we're doing like a dîner type option. So it's like small plates, people walking around with food kind of thing. We're doing that instead.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be traditional at all.
No.
This wedding. It's not gonna be like we're going to a church and then this and then that. Everything is happening in the same place. And it's not going to be like, okay, everyone sit down for speeches while you eat and that kind of thing.
While some guy who you've known since you were 7 talks about what kind of guy you were like in middle school.
Yeah, exactly. Which is not representative of you today, but let's just get.
When I met Adrian, we were on the soccer team, and there was this. His first girlfriend was actually. Her name was Diana. She was. We were 12 years old, and he couldn't talk to her for shit. But it's good.
Yeah.
It's good that now he's. I remember, he never wanted to speak to her, and I remember when he met current fiance, now wife. I mean, it was the same thing. But if it weren't for me, he would have never made the move because he's still that same little boy from when he was 12 who wouldn't they just go in these long convoluted stories.
Absolutely.
That inevitably have the same
Same punchline.
punchlines or just platitudes,
I love you, and I'm getting to know your wife and that kind of thing. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm proud to say you're my best friend. You're my best friend. I'm proud to say I think I have 2 best friends now.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Dude, the one thing, I've never been to a gay wedding. I want to go to a gay wedding so bad where the father is just some Mediterranean masculine macho dude. And he breaks down where he's like, I'm proud to say I got 2 sons now. When Roberto brought you home, I wasn't sure. I came from a different generation, but I'm proud to say I got 2 sons now. And his voice is cracking, I got 2 sons now,
It sounds like
proud to call you both my son.
It sounds like you could start like an all-encompassing wedding industry. You could choose the food. You could sort of MC. You could also do the speeches.
It already exists.
You could even do the speeches for the guy.
Dude, it's a war machine that already exists.
Yeah.
You don't need my help. You're
Could be
part
lucrative.
Of it. It is lucrative. You're seeing it firsthand. But the war machine already exists. You're just part of the cycle now. You're part of the You're part of the multi-level marketing cycle.
Look, you either do it different or you do it better. You could do it better.
Sure. Well, it sounds like you're doing it better. Cutting some corners, not inviting some people. It's good.
Oh yeah.
And elevating it in other areas. I like
That's
it. Nah, a lot of stuff that you do isn't like traditional. Even on YouTube, I found that your style is very different. I like that you tell stories. And I think people are starting to recognize it too, which is cool. People listen. I mean, you're a bigger platform than us in the pod, but I don't know. Maybe there are some listeners who maybe are newer, who weren't around when you were last on. Why don't you maybe just kind of remind people what you do, but also what you've been doing lately? Because it's you've been diversifying a little bit on YouTube, but also like in content, your job. I mean, it's your full-time gig, but you've got different stuff going on. You've gotten a couple of subcontracts, which is cool. I've been seeing some of the stuff you've been doing. It's been awesome. So.
Yeah, awesome. It's been really fun lately. It feels like a bit of an evolution in the last like 6 months or so, because I've gone from, not just doing YouTube. Like, it's not just Adrian making YouTube videos anymore. And I'm also starting to do much more in-depth content, because I actually got into school for journalism through writing. And so I'm basically taking I used to do these like long form 60-minute, nobody wants to read them kind of like deep dive articles, but you transfer that into a video, suddenly people are interested, you know?
Yeah.
So that's essentially what I've been doing lately, is taking that sort of feature writing that I used to do and applying that to my videos now. So it's been good. But then on top of that, I've been doing some freelance hosting, which is fun, with some other companies, and it's been going good. That's sort of the direction I want to move into.
Well, that's your wheelhouse for sure. I wouldn't really be cut up for that. Like, I'm too, I think I'm too, I did an interview with BBC about like Juve a few weeks ago, and they chopped everything out. Like, I was making the host laugh, and they watered it down. Like, I can't be that guy, I can't be that polished. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it. And you seem comfortable doing that, which is good. Like, you seem comfortable in that role of like, just keeping it moving, people like to speak to you too. I could tell, because again, there's something about the way you deliver your messaging. You're not in anyone's face. You're just like, this is interesting because, you're very passionate about football. I mean, some of the shit about like Italian football has really impressed me in the past. And I think that's valuable, right? Like, you actually are in it. Like, I'm halfway in now. I'm just screwing around all the time. I like stories around it. You seem to like stories within it. On the pitch, this team's playing well because they have a new manager, and they're fan owned. Like, I feel like the ultimate Adrian story is just a fan owned club, newly promoted, who's overachieving, with a hint of tragedy, but not too much, because everything you do is like feel good. It's nice, but and I also think you're very into like the we could talk about this a little bit, but you're also very into the subculture of football a little bit. You like jerseys. You like when a club's doing something a little different. And here's ultimately what I'm getting to is, you're more equipped for that sort of thing because you see that shit and you're like, this is cool, this is nice. And I see that and it just makes me mad.
Oh, you're talking about like Venezia type stuff,
for example. Sure.
Yeah, like that kind of thing. I mean, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah, but what I do like about you, that you like the really underground stuff. Like, I'll tell you, hey, like Salernitana's cool, You'll be like, why? And I'll be like, well, because it's a terrible place. It's a terrible town. No one wants to live there. Yeah, it's awful.
Is that true? Salerno?
Yeah, it's dirty. It's not. Yeah, it's there's not a whole hell of a lot. I think it's in the hills, kind of behind Naples.
Okay, so in that region.
There's not a ton. Yeah, but there's not a ton in that town to do. So that's cooler. It's a more like authentically Italian club. You'll hear that and be like, ooh, cool. Yeah. I should explore that. So like, your openness to different stuff I think has served you pretty well.
I think so. I think a lot of people don't want to hear the same old like, why is Juve struggling, or like that kind of thing. Like I will sprinkle that in now and then, but I found that maybe like 4 months ago, I was looking through the titles and the thumbnails of my videos, and they all seem kind of negative. Like, why this team sucks, why this team is doing poorly, why this team blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's easy to do that. Yeah.
It's way too easy to get into that because that brings in the clicks, right? So recently I've wanted to highlight just like cool shit. Like, why Osasuna, this club in the Basque region of Spain, is such a cool club. And thankfully I was able to work with that club. So it just made it even more enriched, right? But there's so many stories like that you can still tell, even though the game has gotten to a point where it's sort of unrecognizable in a sense, with like super leagues and, 40 million for Rabiot or whatever. No, he was free.
Yeah, I mean,
he was free. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like crazy numbers.
Paid 40 million for his left arm.
Yeah.
People are losing their minds in Italy now because on 2 plays in the last week, there was a ghost handball. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually don't even deal. Did you see this? Can you maybe we could throw it up? But like, actually, like, did you see this, Adrian?
From yesterday?
But also from the other day?
Yeah,
he like the Champions League.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure. But here's what I'd like you to pull up, Dilo, if you could, like the slow motion replays, And like, how are we looking at this and we're still not sure what we're even looking at?
It's like the Zapruder film, man.
Yeah, but it's honest to Christ. I've watched some of these so many times that even I'm like, well, I don't even know what I'm looking at. Is that his shoulder? When you slow shit down to a certain point, it gets a little bit like dicier when you're trying to actually infer what you're seeing. Like when you slow it down and really, you good? No, when you slow it down in like a real slow frame, I guess I find it almost like I don't know what I'm watching right now. I don't know what I'm watching,
especially with that like crosshair graphic coming on. Like what?
What am I watching? Does the ball drop or does it graze his arm? I can't see from this angle. It's when you slow it down to that point, I'm looking for like a little bit of fabric on the shirt moving.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know.
You can see the Vlahovic.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. But doing this kind of shit, it gets away from the clear and obvious that they brought it in for.
Right,
in
and
the
it's
beginning.
His arm. I can't tell if his arm's glued to his body. I think it is. I don't know if at this point in time, as what we're watching here, I don't know if it's touching his arm or if it's in the air. I cannot tell.
Yeah.
I feel like you just go crazy. You lose your fucking mind. When you watch it 5 times, you might have like 4 different conclusions on what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super frustrating. And then this becomes like, for example, what the Inter supporters are just going to go to every single time. They lost because of this, but it's like we can't even conclusively say if it even touched him. Like it looks like it touched Vlahovic, and now they're showing other replays of Vlahovic like shoving the ball forward. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw that. I thought he did it. But
that one did look like it. But
I respect cheating. When I was younger, I used to get mad about it. I respect a guy who goes down. I respect Luis Suarez for not the biting necessarily, but I mean, it's gamesmanship. He paid the price for it.
Yeah.
He used to get away with it. The problem was like, didn't he get away with it in Holland, or did he get banned for that too?
I think that something happened in Holland that he didn't. He had to like take like courses for or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's a little much. But but what I'm talking about is he tried to cheat on his Italian exam to get his passport.
Oh yeah. You
remember that?
Yeah,
I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
I respect that a lot. I respect like gaming systems. Everything Juve tried to do with when it came to like accounting and taking advantage of the rules as they were written. I think that's great. I think everyone should do that. Like make better rules. I have no issue. Like the rules are just inherently stupid. The game is totally fucked. It's at a point where you have to try to be creative just in order to stay competitive with the other sides in Europe that are laundering money through sponsorship deals. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. It would be better if that weren't the case. But given the current scenario that football, football clubs have to, deal with and operate within, like the ecosystem they have to operate within, I have no issue with clubs trying to cut corners. I respect the hell out of it. If you get away with it, great. Hand of God, Maradona, chapeau. Best of all time. He knew you could get away with it. He disguised it. There were no replays. I mean, there were, but not to the point that you could reverse the decision.
Yeah. And I mean, even with Juve, with their shit that they did,
it doesn't. None of it scandalizes me. Is my point. I don't know about you because
it just seems like aren't they even reversing the 15-point deduction at this point?
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
So it's like, did they really have a huge advantage? They aren't exactly lighting it up in the league or anything. I don't know. That's the thing that sort of I look to, because wasn't it from 2018-19? Or am I mixing this up with 20 other scandals in the world?
You might be. I think it's more recent, but it's close to that. Close to that period. I think it's like 19 to 21. There were a couple of deals in particular that got highlighted. Who cares? Again, I think anytime you try to like break rules or bend rules or just do what you got to do to create the best outcome for yourself, I think you're just doing what you're supposed to do. Like if you have too much, integrity, if you want to be noble about everything you're doing, I mean, it's great, but it's, I don't know. I just enjoy guys who like getting into the mud. Yeah. I enjoy that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I understand it because at this level, there's just so much competition that you're just going to fall behind if you try to be noble man.
It fires me up though. Like it just fires me up. If I know my club is doing that, it's like, hey, let's go. I think, I don't think anyone hears that their club is doing something that, they got away with that might have been a little like, ooh, shit. There was a close call. It was, it was a little ambiguous as to whether or not they were allowed to do that, but they got away with it. I don't think anyone's ever scandalized by it. No, if you're a Genoa fan, you get away with something because, whatever inconclusive evidence was presented in your favor. I don't think a lot of people are like, hiding their head in the sands. They're just like, that's one on the board for us.
I mean,
that's the instinct.
The Italian league is special for that kind of thing. It's very special. I mean, the Portuguese league too. Benfica had a president that got arrested for money laundering and tax fraud. So it's all over the place.
He's just doing his job. He's doing what he's supposed to do.
So with that, it was him. It was him that was getting in trouble, not the club.
That's fine. Yeah,
But,
that tells me that's a guy who I kind of want involved in that world.
The fall guy.
Well, yeah, just because not necessarily to be the fall guy. It's because I just think that if you're not committing crimes in your personal life and you own a football club, I think you're not cut out for the job. I think you will get eaten alive.
Yeah.
By a sheik.
I mean, he was kind of trash for other reasons, sporting wise, but I mean, in that regard, maybe.
Yeah, no, but do you really want, I don't know, do you want Oprah to run your football club?
No.
Oprah the philanthropist?
No.
Like, I think a reason why people like Ryan Reynolds at Wrexham is because, like, he's real. Like, he's a really charming guy, and it's cool to see him be the face of your club. But I think people get the impression that he'll do what he's got to do. He doesn't care. He may not do. I'm not saying he's like some criminal mastermind. I don't think he strikes me like that. But you could see him maybe getting involved in a little bit of shithousery or just like shit talking in the media. He's not a bitch. They're like, he can hold his own. I think they like that about him.
He has a personality.
Yeah, that's good. We like people that we think can cut their teeth in the world.
Yeah.
In that world of football.
Do you follow that Wrexham stuff at all?
Not a ton.
Me neither.
Have you done a story on it?
Not at all.
Because it'd be too lowbrow.
There's a Disney series or FX or whatever on it already. You know? It's like, what am I going to add to this?
It's been done before.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear you. I don't know a ton about it. I just know they're about to get into the football league, which is cool, But
shout out.
Yeah.
Good for them.
I mean, but English football isn't. I love English football because of English football culture, but I think it's a little less entertaining than Southern European football because of the backstories and the crime and the investigations that often happen and the scandals.
Yeah,
you get scandals everywhere, but England likes sex scandals more. You get sex scandals in France and Italy too, but England really likes the private life. And then I think that the scandals that tend to happen in other countries are more real. Like, like a guy brought a gun into the dressing room and was threatening players. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a little more. Or what was that thing that happened at Sporting a few years ago?
Their ultras came into the dressing room and just like beat him up, whipping him with belts, that kind of thing.
We don't condone that.
No.
But that's more interesting.
It is, yeah.
It's more interesting. It's more interesting,
Because that would never happen in England.
Probably not, no.
There's no way. I mean, they do have the capacity to. We saw the Euro 2020 final where they're jumping the gates to get into Wembley and stuff, so they have the capacity if they wanted to.
No, that's fair. I'm with you. What do you think of these Champions League matchups now? Because, dude, I mean, it's. I want to talk about this with you in particular because you're a Benfiquista, but I think a lot of people, dude. Here's the problem, okay, with being a Portuguese club. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, okay? Because you observe this like a little differently than a lot of other football fans do, who just kind of know about them in passing, right? Maybe you follow a club in La Liga, maybe you follow a French club, German club, whatever the fuck. I think anytime anyone draws a Portuguese club, there's a sigh of relief. Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, we're going through. It's only Porto. Mm-hmm. What? It's like, what? They've won the competition before. What are you talking about? If for a Portuguese club to get to like a Champions League quarterfinal, they usually have to have done pretty good to like build. They do a really good job of building clubs. Yeah. And then just regenerating, keeping the cycle rolling, They keep the carousel rolling and people get off and people get back on. And they're almost always there. There's almost always one, Yeah. People think that like Juve fans now think they're going to beat Sporting in the Europa League. We don't even talk about the Europa League that much on the pod, but it's like, are we? Are we really? I feel like it's a tough draw. But anytime you see a Portuguese side, wow, we're through. Yeah. Inter fans think they're fucking through now because of Benfica. being their opponent. Man, I don't know about that. Really good team.
I mean, from what I saw from Inter, not only this weekend, but against Porto as well, they don't look good at all.
No.
Neither of the Milan clubs. If all of us Benfiquistas, were hoping we get one of the Milan clubs, simply because they look the weakest out of the rest.
So you guys are happy that you got Inter?
Yeah, of course. If we had gotten AC Milan, we would have been even happier. But Inter, they haven't been good lately. Like, you saw them yesterday against Juve. Yeah. Timing this episode now.
Yeah.
You saw them then against Porto as well.
This will be out this week. It's fine, but yeah.
Against Porto, they did nothing. Like, they looked really, really poor. They looked bad under Inzaghi. They have 9 losses this season now.
I think Napoli might go through to the Champions League final. The draw was so kind to them. It's insane.
Me too.
It's
if I'm being
fucking
honest.
nuts. I actually think that Benfica Napoli in the semifinal would be, if it gets to that point. I just think that would be a really competitive game. I don't know that Napoli are necessarily going to walk through them. I'm not doing the exact thing that I'm observing other people doing, saying, oh, well, Napoli are obviously going to beat them. I don't think that necessarily. I think it'd be a good tie, but Napoli have a real chance of doing it, which is nuts, because it's like the haves and have-nots of Napoli are insane. It's like nothing, and then they're going to get it all in 1 year.
I know.
They're going to be like, there's a real chance that if like everything plays out, I mean, there's a lot more to, that has to go down, but maybe we should ask Dilo. He's been on a heater lately. In March Madness. I mean, if you had to bet on anything right now, what would you bet? What's your parlay right now on who's going to be in the Champions League final? Not that anyone cares about predictions ever, but but Dilo's on a heater. He went 14 for 15 in the March Madness so far. I told him to retire. I told him you need an exit strategy and you need to pull the fuck out right now. I've been where you are. He won $400 on a UFC parlay on the weekend. I told him back out. I told him get out now. It doesn't end nicely.
I think we put it all on Napoli now.
Yeah, there you go.
You're putting it all on Napoli? You think so? To win the whole thing?
I think so.
I think they can. Absolutely, they can.
I mean, the bracket is like stacked really heavily one way. What is it? Man City, Chelsea, Bayern, Real Madrid. Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't think Napoli. I wouldn't necessarily back Napoli to beat 3 of those sides in a 2-legged affair.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting, but I don't necessarily back them to do so. I don't know that they beat Man City. I don't know if they beat Bayern. I don't know if they beat Real Madrid. So imagine if they had to face like 2 of them on one side of the bracket. They have to face 0. They have to face Milan, who they play all the time. And either Inter or fucking Benfica. I think there's a real chance they go through.
I think so.
We're just predicting. This is such a trivial thing to talk about. Like who cares what we think? We're giving predictions, but it's interesting. It's interesting. I am asking you though, genuinely, whether you think, because everyone's kind of fallen in love with Napoli this year, and everyone's kind of watched them a little bit more than you might otherwise have. If not in the league, then at least in the Champions League. Do you really think that Benfica have a chance to beat them?
Because beat Napoli?
Yes.
I think beating Napoli would be incredibly difficult because I've watched them a lot because of how they've done in Serie A, what Spalletti's done with them. I mean, in the Champions League, they destroyed Liverpool, which now, of course, with hindsight, you can look at it and say, oh, Liverpool shit this season, whatever. But they destroyed Ajax as well. Like, they were just scoring goals for fun. And the way Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia are playing right now, I don't know that there's a better duo in the world right now between those two. I mean, you could look at Erling Haaland, but like as a number 2 sidekick, there's not really someone that stands out. Maybe Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, it's just the whole. City. It's just the whole of that side. But that's the issue, right? Like Man City get to the final, it's great. Like it's a great romantic notion to say, oh, Napoli have the best tandem in football. It's like, okay, yeah,
but can you beat a whole team?
But yeah, that's the problem. Well, again, it is a really good unit.
Yeah,
like they play really well as a unit. Mm-hmm. Their midfield is excellent.
Even there's like replacing.
Stan Lobotka's really scaled up this year
100%,
but I'm saying you kind of like, dude, I mean, if you take almost any 2 of those Man City players and drop them into a creative Napoli system where they're able to just use their their technical abilities rather freely, you're probably seeing a very similar thing where they're just a great tandem. I really do think so. Italian football is a really tactical,
good system ball.
It's a very let's defend correctly league. I know it's a stereotype, but it's not untrue. So when you get like a dynamic duo like that, but really it's just the dynamism of Kvaratskhelia, who kind of just finds
everyone
a really good hold up, classic, good physical target. Man, by physical I mean just got the physique. He's long, he's tall. It works. Yeah. But really it's all made possible because Kvicha Kvaratskhelia just kind of like slices open otherwise disciplined defenses. That's all he does.
Yeah.
So if you took if you took Jack Grealish and put him in Serie A, there's a chance it would yield similar results. I don't know that for a fact. I don't think he's as dynamic. They played a little bit differently, but pulling that name out of my ass. But I'm saying it's not that crazy a prospect.
No.
You know?
As far as like a skilled winger who can take on multiple guys, I think that he could do it.
So and we're doing this because I got to set Napoli up for what I think is going to be inevitable disappointment here. Because you got to realize like it's a great year they've had. They just got to be happy with their title and that's it. You know, you've been talking about fucking Maradona for 30 years. You know, like this is something to get excited about. That's it. Just take it while you can. Everything else is gravy. You know.
Yeah.
But I also kind of like have to do this because I have to kind of like just to justify that which I'm seeing. I have to kind of bring them down a notch because if they were to go ahead and somehow win the Champions League final, all they got to do is make the final, right? If they make the final, then
who knows?
I'm focusing on Napoli in particular because I think they have the best chance of I think they're clearly the best of the Italian sides that are on that side of the bracket.
Yeah.
So I would have a hard time seeing either of the other ones beating them. I think it would be it would be really cool to see an all Italian affair in the Champions League because we haven't for a while.
Yeah.
But I really think that if they make it to the final, then it's just a one-off for them, and it's like there's a real chance they can. There's a real chance they can nab it.
So
and I need to mentally prepare myself for that because Juve have shot the bed in finals for years. So
at this point, you just support an Italian team, unless it's Inter, of course.
No, I don't want to see Inter win a title. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see. No, I wouldn't want to see Napoli. Sorry, I wouldn't want to see Milan win the Champions League either.
Again.
Nah, personally.
Enough.
But it's cool. No, I'm happy with where things are at now. It's cool. 3 out of 4 on one side of the bracket.
Yeah.
Good. Italian football's good. They can all, as far as I'm concerned, they can all go die now. I don't care. I'm serious. I'd like it if one made it to the final. At that point, then I don't know.
Yeah. You already made it at this point.
Yeah, well, it's just
semis or quarters.
As a neutral fan, I think it's a cool story if Napoli win the whole thing. I have nothing against them. I like them. I like that city a lot. I think it'd be great for them. I would actually be pulling for them because I would like for those people to have something nice happen to them.
Right.
Does that make
Just because
sense?
you love the city.
Yeah, 100%.
So speaking of yesterday and Inter and what I can sort of expect, did you guys beat Inter yesterday because they're so bad or because you guys are starting to play a lot better? Or both?
I think we just had like a consistent level that we've been hitting.
Yeah.
And it's not that awe-inspiring. It's just the level that we've hit. It's just, they are relatively, they being Juve are relatively disciplined defensively now, and they were able to shut it down. That was, but I think if you ask an Inter fan, they would just say we suck. I mean, we're unreliable. I think a lot of clubs could say that though in Italy this year, except for Napoli. It's like everyone's been trying to fumble it except for them.
Yeah.
The reason that Napoli have had such a gap, occur, right? And why they are running away with it and why they will win it in a number of weeks now mathematically is because they're the only ones who've been like just like consistently like elite all year. I know I'm using big buzzwords here, but it's true. Like every other side's kind of been playing hot potato, just like intermittently fucking up. They've just been the most consistent. So what I guess that's a credit to the coach because usually when that happens, it's like he's fostered a good environment where they're just in their groove. Juve would do it in years past. Napoli have done this before. That's the thing. They've played well like in years past, but then Juve was also hitting a groove. It's like Juve just never quite hit it. They stumbled at times when they shouldn't have. And and then the 15-point penalty was just the nail in the coffin, like psychologically. That I think that wrecked them.
Yeah.
But no, I think Inter have had a real issue of just showing up for a lot of big games this year. But then I don't know. You have some Inter fans that kind of say the opposite. They're like, they do all right in big games, but it's like they just kind of sporadically fuck up, like random throwaway matches. But that's the whole point. Is you can't really stumble. Given that they have a number of times, I think that a lot of Interisti have like no confidence in them right now. So if you ask them, they'd probably say, we're just not that great.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I don't think either side is that impressive. They just, whatever. You won a fucking little battle yesterday. That's it. That's all it is. I don't think either side has been awe-inspiring this year. No. Truly. That's, that's why Inter are probably going to crash out to you guys in the Champions League, and that's why Juve didn't even make it out of the group.
I hope so. It's the revenge of João Mario.
Oh yeah.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah. What a weird transfer that was. I forgot that guy still existed, man.
Dude, he went everywhere. He went from like Inter to like Lokomotiv Moscow.
Oh my god.
He went to West Ham at one point.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, dude. And then he came back to Portugal.
He never went to
Sporting.
Turkey though. Turkey's back. Right? Turkey's like when you go to Turkey, it's like Turkey's like the final. That's the final frontier. You know, it's literally the final frontier of Europe. You know.
Yeah.
You're like you're right. What's that axis called? Like that splits Constantinople in two. Like the European Asian border.
Oh, the river that runs in Istanbul.
It might be that. Yeah.
That thing. Yeah, I think it's the river. Like one side's Asia, one side's Europe.
Once you cross that, yeah, it's like
You're gone.
You're gone.
Next stop, MLS.
There's no real coming back from that. Yeah. No, it's true. I'm not even kidding you. Like think of all the players that have gone to Turkey and that have just never come back. Like, you got Bafetimbi Gomez has been there for excuse me. He's been there for years. He's never coming back.
Galatasaray just takes in everybody.
Yeah, man.
You know, Dries Mertens, Icardi.
Give me you're old, you're downtrodden, you're beaten up. Yeah, man. Balotelli's never coming back. He's in Switzerland now. You know, like you never you never take a step up from Turkey. You go to Turkey and then you just stay that level or lower. You know what I mean?
I forgot about Balotelli because he went to Monza and then just I should have been seeing him this season. I completely forgot about him. So he's in Swiss.
He's been gone from Monza for
gone.
Oh yo, he's been gone. Yeah, he was with them in Serie B, I think. Yeah, Brescia in Serie A last time. He went down to Monza in Serie B, and then I think he went to Turkey. He's now with I don't know if it's Sion. He's with he's with a random ass club in Switzerland. You know, still being Balotelli. Yeah, like Turkey's where you go and you kind of want to feel like, dude, Turkey's kind of just an illusion. Like it's a football wise, it's a total illusion.
I mean,
it's a hoax. Like you go there thinking I'm playing top flight football, and you are, but like you're playing in Turkey.
You're still in Europe.
Yeah.
You still have a decent lifestyle. You're still playing top flight. Maybe you'll get into a European competition, have a decent run. You'll make some good money.
But everyone kind of knows it's Turkey, man. Yeah, exactly.
You're in Turkey still.
Zaniolo's there right now. Did you see that?
That was a weird one.
Did you see that Zaniolo's got a Turkish girlfriend now? Guys, I fucking called this. I said he's going to get someone pregnant by the time he gets back. It's the only thing that's going to happen in Galatasaray. I said he's going to be there 6 months. He's going to come back to Italy. He's there so he doesn't languish because he got kicked out at Roma. And I said he's going to get a Turkish woman pregnant. He's got a new flame now. There's no chance she doesn't get pregnant. Look at her. Pull her up. Dilo, pull her up. There's no way that this woman doesn't dude.
Is he known for this?
Dude.
Multiple babies? Is he the Nick Cannon of Serie A?
Not quite. He just has one. He has one right now, but he's that guy. Dude, she's going to ruin your life. This woman's going to ruin your life.
Zaniolo is happy in Turkey.
No. The Italian press announced that Nicolo Zaniolo is the new lover of Bukru Uzberk. That's the thing. He's never just going to go to a supermarket and date a hot girl at a supermarket. It's going to be somebody whose name is recognizable enough that they'll print it in a newspaper.
Yeah.
I've never heard of her before, but I would assume she's been on a reality show or something. What does she do? Is she an actress? She's going to ruin his life. Don't tell me she's an Instagram blogger. She might be. That's the thing. He only dates Instagram bloggers. He only dates like models that aren't like modeling for like respectable.
Yeah.
You know.
That's his dating app.
Yeah.
Instagram.
What? Actress.
Okay.
She has a career. So maybe she doesn't get pregnant. Maybe she's on the pill or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a chance. But because if she's an Instagram model or something, she's like, you know, she's holding out for an athlete, right? Yeah. So when it happens, you know, it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Just stay away from football players, man.
I think football players should stay away from famous women. I think they need to date civilians.
9.3 million followers.
Oh yeah, she might get pregnant, bro.
Uh-oh.
That's a lot of followers. That's real good for the brand. Maybe not. Maybe not actually. If she has a kid, I think maybe the whole brand is fucked. How old is she?
33.
She's 33.
How old's he?
He's 23. 24.
Oh, okay.
He's 24. Her clock is ticking. I don't know. Maybe. Dude, there's so many footballers that just date older women.
Why not?
Why not? Because eventually what inevitably happens is it all goes up in flames when you realize, oh shit, she's going to die before me and she's 10 years older than me and she's, you know, she's expiring fast. I mean, what do you think happened with Piqué and Shakira? You know, it was fun for a while and I was like, okay, like what the fuck? I'm dating a 45-year-old woman now. I'm going to go back and date another 25-year-old woman. You know?
Icardi and Wanda.
It's the same thing.
How much older is she? She's quite a bit older than
7
him,
years. 7 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, they're doomed.
All right.
They're doomed.
But they're together currently.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, that flip-flops. It changes.
They play the game well. I think she's one of the greatest minds, I think, in
Oh, dude.
in maybe in football. Like, in terms of modern football and what you got to do to be relevant. Because think about it. He went to Turkey. He's in Turkey now.
He's at Galatasaray.
When you go to Turkey, there's no coming back. But we're still talking about him. That's highly unusual. Highly unusual.
Part of that's down to her, though. Because she
it's
plays
entirely
the game,
down to her.
Like you said, she plays the game so well that she'll just like she understands the media machine and when to like whip up controversy, when to have a breakup.
The thing is, it might also just be her personality. It might just be who they are, and it might just work. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I've thought about this before. Are they geniuses or are they just a soap? Is their life, because their life is clearly a soap, at least what's presented to us, but is it just authentically that? Because if it is, it's a little disappointing because I would, again, I respect people that are a little crazy, that break the rules, that do what they got to do, as I'm saying. I think we should revere them a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Revere them is a strong word, but like a little reverence, I guess. But I guess we're going to give them reverence. Technically, we're revering them. But now when I'm hearing that, I don't it sounds like I'm bowing down to her.
I think both can be true, though.
But my point is, whether it's true or not, it's entertaining, but it's I'd be a little disappointed if it weren't true because I like the idea that she's been able to successfully orchestrate it, mastermind it.
Yeah.
But if not, it's almost more impressive.
I think both are true.
Genuine. Well, but does she say, fuck it, this is my reality, I may as well get pressed for it, let's leak it? Or are they just living life and it is serving them well because of how they just authentically, genuinely behave, in their personal lives?
I think that both are true because I think that she's sort of like what's an example? Like Kanye before he really went deep.
Yeah.
Back in the day, every time he had an album coming out, he'd have some sort of controversy, not to the levels of the recent ones, but he'd have some sort of controversy. He would speak out against someone, like Jay doesn't talk to me anymore, blah, 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 just to get in the media. And so I think that Wanda sort of understands that and plays it up a bit. But I think they also are incredibly drama filled.
What do you think Kanye's drumming up now? What do you think?
What's next?
Or what do you think it's all? What do you think? Yeah. What do you think is all?
Where do you go from here?
What do you think is all in the works here? What do you think is next? Do you think it's like a social media platform? He's gonna be like an ambassador for Truth Social or something?
Dude, I have no. Yeah, he's gonna be on a. What's
no,
that
but
one?
Maybe that's what's next. He's like I'm
Rumble. That's it.
Maybe he's gonna be a Rumble partner. Yeah. Maybe that's his Kanye Rumble channel.
Yeah. He's gonna be joining like Jordan Peterson and what's that other dude? Ben Shapiro. All those guys, collaborating and talking politics. He said he wants to be a politician. He wants to be the president.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
This is his way in,
Oh my God. What's funny is you have some people that would vote for him in the US, man. They'd be like, you know what, Trump's not enough. We got to go a little more into the mud, you know?
Trump's bland now.
Yeah, he's bland.
In comparison.
He's bland. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
I
think the Wanda machine is just impressive. Like you just have to applaud it for what it is, which is a moneymaker.
Yeah.
Whether it's intentional or not doesn't really matter. I just like to know these things because I think it's cool to know. Like it's whether I should respect her even more than I do or not.
Yeah.
That's it. But here's the thing. I've seen videos of her kids talking about how there's a video that circulated of them a few years ago. I don't know if you'll be able to find this. This is very niche. But they were saying, I don't know if you could spell this. Noi vogliamo la figa volontà. Figa, F-I-G-A. We want pussy on tap or something like that.
Her kids?
Her kids were chanting it. Noi vogliamo la figa volontà. It was insane. Wow. She was posting about it on Instagram.
What's the context?
I just think they're just I don't remember, but I think they're just a sexually charged family.
Yeah.
That's she's raising them to find, to say that and post it, not hit him with a belt.
Yeah. Kiss goodnight before bed. They make them chant that kind of thing.
Well, not necessarily, but my point is, I think they're very, I couldn't have my mother posting her tits out all the time. It's insane. No. But if that's your mom, that's your mom.
Yeah.
It's still your mom. That's your, that, it's why Zaniolo, by the way, I've talked about this before at length. People are going to lose their minds if they've been, long-time listeners are going to know what I'm going to say here, but Zaniolo's problem is he's got a mother who's an attention whore. She's like a smoke show for a 50-year-old woman. She was married to a footballer herself, his father. So think about it. His father was a playboy footballer, married a crazy woman who now posts duck face and posts her tits out and shit. She's 50 years old. Okay, she was a relatively young mom. She might be in her 40s. Posts on Instagram to the point that it's almost a joke, right? Like it's an inside joke. Everyone knows Zaniolo's got the hot mom. And who does he date? Airheads, models, crazy women. He dated a woman who they call the Italian Barbie. She's now got a kid with Mattia Zaccagni. Her name's Chiara Nasti. I saw her in Naples with Paola, my girlfriend, at the train station. And I couldn't believe I was like, what the fuck? She had a Birkin bag with a Chihuahua in it or a Yorkie. She was wearing a pink sweatsuit. Pink sweatsuit in July or in August at the train station with frames and with Jude frames inside. And I was like, what the she's not real. What the, how do you exist? How do you walk around like that?
Where are you going like this?
But it's like, how do you walk around like this? How can you say this is the existence I want to have? I want to look like this and be that character. What do you want to be? It's like, so he's dated someone like that.
Yeah.
He's dated her. She's not a brilliant woman. She's not a brilliant woman. There are some really vain women that are brilliant. Like if you were to sit down, you could have like a thought-provoking dinner conversation with her. She's not one of them.
What is she? Is she like a model, actress, singer?
No.
What are we talking?
No. Just Instagram. Just
Instagram.
Just a big Instagram personality, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the paradox. It's like the vicious cycle. Like it's cool, but it's cool, great, wow. I get to date these women that are very desired by other men because they post about it, right? Instead of finding one that would be desirable. Again, just works at the video store. You go to the video store, she's attractive. There are hot people all throughout this, all over the place, but she's not showing it off, right? You could have that, Like that's what Lorenzo Insigne has done. He's like the opposite guy. He's like super low key. He doesn't like any of the insanity. Yeah, so he has a really his wife's very pretty, but he found her in the town and he leaves her in a basement and he locks her with a lock and key type of thing.
Okay, yeah. Old school
type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The old ways.
Yeah. Deal of smirking. I'm only half kidding.
Yeah.
Did
she get to come to Toronto?
Yeah, she's in Toronto now.
Fantastic.
But my point is, no, I'm not saying that's the healthier way of doing it. I'm just saying,
of course not.
I'm saying it's a world of haves and have-nots. You have two extremes. You could but I don't know. I think from what I understand, he was very very simple. I'm gonna pretend to know his upbringing, but I've heard his father speak. He's just a Napolitan working father. I think his mom's just a Napolitan. I'll cook you something, mom. And I think he's like, listen, I want my wife to be very low key. Now, obviously, I don't want her to be built like an ox, right? Like a lot of Italian grandmothers, like his mom might be. I don't know. I'm not insulting his mother. I've never seen her. It's like I'd like for her to be attractive, right? Yeah. But let's keep it to the local, to the network here. Let's not start DMing strangers on Instagram who are trying to look like Barbie.
Yes. Yeah. That's the Zaniolo fallacy.
That's kind of the Zaniolo fallacy. And I'm saying that when you have a mom like Wanda as one of their kids, ultimately, here's what I'm building up to. So his boys are screwed.
Yeah, they're gonna be Zaniolos.
They're gonna have their lives ruined by mini Wandas.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because we date our mother.
It's he grew up with that example and now he's just following.
We date our mother.
Yeah.
We date our mothers. Like we don't fuck our mothers, but we date our mothers,
Yeah, same characteristics.
Like I know, like when you don't think about it when you're we don't think I want someone to look like my mother. That's what I mean when I say we don't fuck our mothers. But it's all up here. It's all like, hey, listen, I'd like for you to be attractive, but if I speak to you and I don't vibe with you, we're not going anywhere. We're not going to spend the rest of our lives together. And when do you vibe with someone? Probably subconsciously when it's someone that's espousing similar values to shit that you're used to. That's all it is. It's creepy, but it's not that wild to think about,
No, not at all. And girls do that with dads as well, certain qualities with their dads as well.
Yeah, to an extent, potentially, or just male figures in their life. So what the fuck do you think, Wanda's sons are going to be like? Again, these are children. These are children we're talking about here. But you understand, like when I talk about the Wanda war machine, it's a never-ending cycle. It is a never-ending cycle because whether she could have kids that suck at football. She could have kids that suck at football. They're not footballers. They're not famous. They're not anything. But they're Icardi, Lopez, Wanda Jr., right? Mm-hmm. And so there will probably be some level of baseline press interest in them in Argentina. They can go on a reality show. Who goes on reality shows? Damaged, crazy people who are like, hey, you know what? I was ugly when I was a kid, so now I do whatever the fuck I got to do to bump up my, get the Brazilian butt lift. I need attention now. And super vain. Again, nothing wrong with being attractive, but it's like, who's doing this?
Yeah.
I'm saying this, not you. You're a much more polite guy than me. I'm throwing shit at the wall here that I'm thinking of live in real time. I understand that this isn't exactly in your wheelhouse. Okay?
Well, I just don't know the Wandas or the Zaniolos very well as you do.
Well, what do you mean you don't know them well?
I know the Wandas.
You see footballers all the time that date crazy women. That's the whole point. You were saying you don't see why anyone would date footballers. I would say uno reversal. I don't think any footballer should date someone that's famous.
Maybe just famous people shouldn't date.
Yeah. Sure. Let's.
you get tripped
Dude,
up.
I don't care.
Where do you draw the line?
No, I was just thinking like I was just thinking I could debate anything. Like you ever hear like in debate, like in high school, they're like, hey, all right, you're pro this. And it's like, oh, I actually don't believe in that. Well, you're gonna argue it anyway. Sure, I'll argue anything.
You'll take either side. You're good.
I'll argue it potentially. I don't know. What do you? So what do you think? What's the last? What's the last thing you want to end on here? Because I want to talk about like a big story that you have on your radar that you like right now. What's the biggest kind of story that nobody really knows about that you, in your infinite wisdom and like in your pursuit of like interesting stories in football, what's one thing that like nobody knows about that we should kind of like maybe I don't know, just inform ourselves on? There's one thing I wanted to ask you, and I want to end on this because you're kind of the guy for this. I would say. It doesn't have to be in Italian football necessarily, but
yeah. I've sort of not fallen out. I just haven't done Italian football stuff in a while. I mean, the last thing I did was that AC Milan video. As far as things people should know about, that's hard to say. The things I'm going to be working on in the near future will be, I'm going to do a video on Isco because Isco is a very interesting player. You remember him?
Yeah.
From Real Madrid?
Yeah, and now he plays in PK's 7-a-side league.
Yeah, essentially.
With the Luchador.
Yeah, exactly. Because he went to Sevilla. I don't even really fully know what happened there for the breakdown. Then he tried to go to Union Berlin on the final day of deadline day, transfer deadline day in January. And that broke down. So now he's just chilling.
Here's the thing with him. There will always be a place for Isco at Lazio.
I could perfectly picture that now.
or just any Italian club.
Yeah.
They'll always,
He could go to Roma as well.
You know what I'm realizing? You know what I'm realizing? As I'm talking about how Turkey's where careers go to die. Dude, Italy's where you go to die. Italy's kind of become where you go to die. Like Frank Ribéry ended it in Italy. You know? Who else? There are guys. Who else ended it in Italy? Who?
Fabregas is with Como.
Fabregas.
Dude, he's doing it right, man. He went to Monaco first, chilling in Monaco, playing there, then going to Como after. Come on. That's how you end a career.
Oh, yeah. Where to next? Where do you go next? Yeah.
Where do you go after that? I don't know.
Is there
Bali or something?
Is there a club in the Swiss Alps or something?
Yeah, maybe. He's going to be playing in Malta or something.
Or just some other beautiful part of the world. Just start playing in the fjords in Norway,
Yeah, it's true though. Like even Lazio, you have like Pedro there as well. Like,
Pedro, that's where you go to die. Yeah. What about Callejon? Luis Alberto's gonna end there too.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to think who else. Even like Di Maria to an extent. He's doing it at a much more proficient level at Juve. It's a little more sexy, illustrious. He's going there to end it. It's his last European club. It's over.
Yeah.
It's done. He's in Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dzeko. Even fucking Zlatan, man.
It's true. That Giroud making a name for himself.
You go to Italy to die. I'm realizing this.
But you get some glory and then die. It's glory on the battlefield.
You know who doesn't have anyone who's trying to kill out their career right now and just fucking end it?
Who?
Napoli. The only side. They're the only side who are
true.
Dude, every other side. Fiorentina's got like a random fucking guy at any given point in time that's kind of just, I don't know, that's on the way out.
Yeah.
It was Ribéry for a while. Who is it? I don't know. Napoli are just, they're building a side for now, for tomorrow. It's not like they're not building a side for yesterday,
Yeah. Yeah, they're killing it. Didn't I also read, like, just in a quick aside, that they're doing it without debt? Aren't they one of the few clubs in Italy that has crazy debt? Did Aurelio do something real right?
Yeah, he sells off players and he sells off players at elevated values and doesn't really invest in the club at all.
Yeah.
So, So like it's real tough on them for like a number of years, but when this happens, he's a god.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
When this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
He's been there for a long time. The De Laurentiis family's owned them for almost 20 years, I think, at least. And because I think at one point they were down in Serie G or B in like 2005. They had a real rough period. I think it might have been Serie B. It was due to like financial shit. They went bankrupt as is typical. I don't know if they got phoenixed or not, but I think I could be totally butchering this. But I think that's when they took over. And for a while, it was like a lot of indifference toward him. It's like, here's this rich guy. Because he is a Neapolitan guy, which they appreciate. He can only be a Neapolitan who owns Naples. Yeah. To be honest. It could be, like I was going to say, it can never be a foreigner. But by that, I mean, it can never be someone outside of that region of Campania.
Right.
That's a foreigner. I'm serious.
Yeah.
So they're rich, and they're not really Napolitan, like mentally, culturally, in that they're not like street urchins and stuff, but they kind of are a little bit. They're a little what we call furbo, right? All of them, right? He has a little bit of that. He's just doing it at a bit of a different level. He's kind of shrewd. It's like furbo is like sly, like a fox. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's an expression in Naples called la cazzimma. It's hard to explain. There was a guy who went on TV. There was a singer named Gigi D'Alessio. You know Gigi D'Alessio? Yeah. So okay. So he went on Italian broadcast television, I think, like the day after Lorenzo Insigne scored a goal against Real Madrid in like the Champions League round of 16 or something a few years ago from maybe 35 yards out, because he saw that the keeper might have been Navas, whoever it was off his line.
I remember that goal.
And he hooked it in. Yeah. And Gigi D'Alessio was giving a monologue talking about what la cazzimma is. This weird, like inexplicable, hard to translate thing. You ever hear about how like in Sweden they claim there's this one weird Nordic word that they all try to live by? It's like
hig.
Yeah, not too flashy. Yeah, but don't be a nobody. Just kind of blend in. And it's like it's hard to otherwise translate. This is kind of like that in Naples. It's like if you're just shrewd, in a way where it's like you're not a dick. You're not a dick. You're not fucking people over. You're not stealing from people. You're just sly.
Okay.
So anyway, he's giving a monologue on it, and he's talking about how like Lorenzo Insigne doing that is like a perfect example of it. De Laurentiis has a little bit of that. He did grow up in that culture, but he wasn't like, he was affluent. His father, I think, was Dino De Laurentiis, who was like one of the biggest producers in
like big
Italian
movie guys.
cinema. Yeah. Giada De Laurentiis' uncle, you know. Yeah. They married into like the same family, Sofia Loren. I think one of them married a Mussolini too, actually, which is random. Okay. But like, so they're kind of like in the upper echelons of Italian society, Yeah. But so it's got to be a rich guy, but he's about like as good as it'll get. He's like the perfect man to actually own that club because he's Neapolitan, but he's he kind of understands. He's Neapolitan in all the right ways, and that he knows what he's got to do. Sometimes he'll fucking sell someone off. He'll throw him under the bus. That is that word. That is questa la cazzimma. That's like sly. Yeah. He's and you cannot be too refined. He's a little bit more refined than a lot of other Neapolitans. He can kind of rub shoulders with bankers and stuff, and
play both worlds.
So, but for the longest time, the lack of like desire to like just invest personal capital, I think, or personal wealth into the club, I think, kind of caused a bit of like, whatever, a little bit of indifference toward this guy. But now it's it's paying dividends. To be fair though, they've been like, I think they deserve credit, man, because they've been good for a long time.
They have been.
Like for 10 years. It's been a good decade for Napoli. Yeah, truly.
Absolutely. Even like right before Sarri, I don't remember who it was, but they had like 20
Ancelotti or Mazzarri.
It might have been him. I can't remember who it was, but they were in the Champions League like 10 years ago.
Might have been no, it was Rafa Benitez. It was Rafa Benitez.
Oh yeah. That was
but again, like they've sold Cavani, Lavezzi. They've sold Higuain. They will sell Osimhen probably this summer. It's over. They're gonna throw him under the bus. The fans will forgive him because he's been there a number of years. He'll have won a title with them, maybe more, but very least a title, right? Yeah. But it'll be like, hey, he wants to go. We're gonna let the birdie fly free. Mm-hmm. I don't want to sell him. I mean, I don't want the $80 million. I don't want it. What am I gonna do with this? Fuck. I wish I had him. What will I ever do? You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll never be able to replace him. It's not like they do that every fucking couple of years. They're smart. Dude, their technical director is a genius, man. Their sporting director. Not technical director. The sporting director. Yeah. Giuntoli.
Well, that's what our old president, the money launderer guy, used to be like, where he would just like sell people immediately. Well, I guess he's held on to Osimhen a little bit longer than would have expected, but
the fact that he was scouted by Giuntoli, I forget his name. I don't know if it's Giulio or Flavio. I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. You want that guy as your sporting director on Football Manager. He's got like 19 stats, 19 on 20. But it's legit. Like it's true. There were rumors that Juve might poach him a few years ago. I don't even think he would do it because he was like so Neapolitan. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. Fuck you. I'm dying here.
Yeah.
On this land, in this earth, you know?
I mean, to find Kvaratskhelia or whatever for like 10 million.
How insane is that?
It's ridiculous.
How insane is that? He was playing in Georgia. I know he was playing in Russia before that, and it was,
But he was back in Georgia, right?
It's insane. It's impressive. It's really fucking impressive. I don't know. I mean, and the weird thing is, like, I mean, they're like the best team in Italy, and this is kind of like maybe this is part of the issue. And it's not. I'm not gonna sit here and say that the Italian national team sucks. Obviously, they don't. They're one of the best teams in Europe. They've had a weird like stretch, a little unlucky, but like none of their the Italian national team basically has no Napoli players. Like right now, I think Mancini called up a 30-man roster. Can you pull this up, Dilo, buddy? Pull it up. We'll throw it on in the background here, dude. I think there are maybe like 3 Napoli players. One of them is Alex Meret, the goalkeeper, who's gonna be the backup.
Raspadori, Di Lorenzo.
That's it. They've done it without, like, they have an incredible midfield.
That's it.
They've done it without any local talent. And here's the thing: there are a lot of really good Italian footballers in Naples.
Yeah,
there are tons. There are a lot of really good footballers that come out of Naples that will wind up going to other clubs. They don't seem to come through at Napoli for some reason. I don't know why, but for some reason it just never seems to work out for them. And it's like they just recruit from outside, and it works. And it works. And to be fair, the fans don't have an issue with it because they're not like weird about it. We want it to be representative of us. Fucking no, they don't care. Yeah. If you play for Napoli, you represent them. It's like it's our national team. That's kind of their thinking, you know?
I mean, Benfica used to be the team that was like that. Like all of our good players would come from South America, like David Luiz, Di Maria, like all these guys that sort of used Benfica as a gateway. But then in like 2009, they started to focus on their academy. Now we got both.
Does David Neres play for you guys now?
Yeah.
But you got him by way of Ajax. It's kind of a little different. I was always impressed
by way of Shakhtar.
Right.
Yeah, he was one of the Exodus dudes.
He was the fire sale. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Forgot about that. Okay.
Exactly. And we actually sort of didn't get him for free, but we had sold them another player named Pedrinho.
Yeah, it was kind of like you kind of got him for free. Right. It was like, you guys have no money. Take this guy and see what you do with him. Hopefully he doesn't get his head blown off. Shut the ball and good luck to you. Yeah. He's
been killing it though. I mean, Benfica is another story that if any of the Italians don't want to root for Inter, AC Milan, or Napoli, Benfica is a good team to watch.
No, absolutely.
The football that they're playing is crazy under Roger Schmidt. High press, high intensity.
Have you guys felt the absence of Enzo Fernandez for the last 2 months, or not really?
We thought it would be much worse. It hasn't been bad at all. We've still only lost 2 matches. Both were against the same team.
You fleeced them? You fleeced Chelsea a little bit?
Yeah. Of course. 120 million for anyone is insane.
Little World Cup tax, no problem.
He is fucking good though.
Worst time to buy players. Apparently their owner is insane, man. That guy Todd, what's his name?
Todd Bowley?
Dude, apparently he didn't even know that they were not going to get Champions League money if they didn't make the Champions League this year. So he's like, yeah, we're good for it. And they're like, no, you're not. And he was like, my bad. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to do now? Can't return them.
I mean, we fleeced him to an extent because 120 million for anyone is insane. But I think he is going to be the best midfielder in the world in a couple of years. He's going to move to Real Madrid.
I love that name so much. It's such an Argentinian name, Enzo Fernandez. Dude, the most Argentinian names ever are like, it's either Italian first name, Spanish last name, or Spanish first name, Italian last name.
Yeah.
Argentinian name generator right now. The most Argentinian name I could ever think of is like
Lavezzi.
It's like Ezequiel Lavezzi.
Yeah.
It's Ezequiel Lavezzi. No, but we got to think of one here live in real time. I would say it's like Martin Rossi.
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
What was that Palomino guy? Is he like an Italian Argentinian?
He's got another like AI generated Argentinian name. Yeah, exactly. So same thing. Like Jose Palumbo. Was that another guy who used to play for Atalanta? Am I nuts? I think so. Yeah. Dude, it's such a fallacy. I'm looking at this Italian side right now. Do you get this when you look at the Portuguese national team? Do you have like this weird patriotic thing where you just like have blinders on and you don't see how shit it might be, Like in your mind, you're like, oh wow, these are all names that I recognize. I'm fucking fully erect right now because I'm looking at this side and I'm like, we can win the World Cup with this team. And we can't. But I'm looking at it like, well,
Yeah.
me. We got Giorgio Scalvini who got called up. Oh my God. He's 22. He plays for Atalanta. He's a center back. I know about him.
Who's this dude? Retegui.
Oh, dude, I want to talk about this guy. Actually, I'm happy you brought him up.
All right, hit it.
Fuck, man. Oh, man. Dude, Roberto Mancini's fully playing Football Manager with this one, man. No, I swear to God.
He signed that Napoli scout.
Every time I play Football Manager as a national team manager, dude, anytime I play Football Manager, I always manage the Italian national team.
Yeah. Everyone
Everyone plays Football Manager to manage a club. I do it to manage Italian national team because I didn't use a consonant there. That's weird. What did I was caught between two ideas. I was going to say national teams, but I realized I only ever manage the Italian national team. Like the German national team can get stuff. They offer me the job. No, up yours.
Yeah.
I only want to manage the Italian national team. It's all I ever fucking try to do because I just try to live vicariously through them and call up the guys that I wish they would call up and just bring through names from the U21 level that I think are supposed to be good because I recognize the names, but they inevitably, invariably always fall flat. Like this one time in 2017, Nick Giannoletti and I, who I founded the podcast with, bet the entire budget of our Sunday League team on the Italian U21 team to win the 2017 Euro. And they didn't. Andrea Petagna was on that team. Federico Bernardeschi was on that team.
Yeah.
Domenico Berardi was on that team. We had like Armando Izzo. No, I was fucking like Daniele Baselli. Is that his name? Daniele? I don't know. You ever heard of him before?
No.
He plays for Torino. Exactly. He's like never got. But in my mind, because I knew him, I was like, wow, he plays for Torino. He's playing in Serie A. He's fucking. How could we lose?
Yeah.
It was like a pornographic team, bro. In our minds, we were like, we can't fucking lose. So the difference of like the budget that we had, that we still had left in the coffers that was supposed to be for beer, we bet on that team, and we got my whole, all my boys to agree, and we lost. Because we have these like illusions of grandeur. So what I like to do is I like to take those players in Football Manager and bring them into the players that the algo thinks they could become if all the factors are right. So I do that, and what I almost always do is I almost always will go to Argentina. I'll find a guy with Italian lineage from Boca Juniors or something, and I'll solicit him. Yeah.
Is that this guy? That's a South American jersey. It's
dude,
gotta be.
I've had Gabriel Martinelli play for Italy before for me in the Euro. Yeah. But then the next year,
Did you get Dybala as well?
I didn't because he had already committed to Argentina. Icardi, I couldn't because he had played a game already. It's too bad. But dude, I think in like 2020, I got Gabriel Martinelli to commit, and I think in 2021, by that point, it was too realistic. He's like, "Fuck you, I'm Brazilian." Yeah.
No, I can make it with the Brazilian team. I'm gonna do
such
that.
a shame, dude. It was so tragic. And there was this other guy who used to play for Espanyol. Fuck, I forget his name. It started with a C. I'm never gonna remember this dude. Dielo's getting ready to look it up. There's no fucking way. I think it was. I want to go back to Retegui in a sec here, but Christ, it's gonna bother me. I think it was Emiliano something. It was one of the most. Yeah, we have a name for it. Oriundo. If you're an Oriundo, you're an Italian abroad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Mauro Camoranesi was one of them. Dude, I think his name was Emiliano. Look up Argentinian striker Emiliano, and then just put C, the letter C. see if that brings anything up. Oh, Emiliano Sala, the dead guy. that's psych.
Wrong one.
Doesn't matter. I think it might have been. Fuck. Who played for Espanyol in 2019-20, Dilo? I think that might be a better way of Calleri. I think it was Calleri. Caller. Is it Emiliano Calleri? There's no way. There's no fucking way. Maybe I'm fucking it up. It doesn't matter. Dude, the point is he's not good. Like, you've never heard of him before. But, like, in the game, I think he was scoring. He was, like, 28 years old and scoring goals for Espanyol. And he was Argentinian. But I think he was on my radar. Basically, what happened was you could filter by, by national pool.
Yeah.
There's a guy who I never heard of before who was fucking on the list. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? What? I just called him up, and he was tearing it up for me. But I felt guilty doing it because I was like, I'm cheating. There's no way this guy would actually make it in real life,
So you're basically doing what the Canadian and U.S. national teams do, just finding any dual national they can and being like, come on, let's go.
Exactly. But here's the thing. The Italian striker situation is so dire right now that Mancini's actually resorting to do that in real life. So this guy, Retegui, he's on loan for, I think he's at an Argentinian club called Tigres, and I think he's tearing it up. He's scoring
Club. Oh, wait, what?
No, it's an Argentinian club called Tigres. Yeah, that fuck with me. Matteo Retegui. Here's how you know it's Argentinian, because it's Matteo with one T. Matteo. It's not Matteo. It's it's Matteo.
Yeah.
Matteo Retegui. Matteo Retegui. So he's on loan from Boca Juniors. He's tearing it up, and he accepted the call. So it's cool. He's 24 years old, and I'll have him. And here's the thing: I think he's gonna fucking destroy. I don't think there's a chance. Because here's the thing: if you score prolifically, dude, there were rumors that we were gonna call up a guy who's, I think, scoring buckets of goals for Steaua Bucharest in Romania.
Yes.
I think his name is Compagno. Something Compagno.
Of course.
He's a Sicilian guy. Do you know about him?
No, of course not.
Okay, you're acting like you do.
But playing a Stau, his name is Compagno.
But like, if you're scoring 20 goals, you're the guy. Like, Graziano Pelle was playing in Holland for a while. We stuck our nose up to him, and he wound up being not good, but like what we needed.
Serviceable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, like Ciro Immobile is not going to be that guy. He's injured, which is kind of a blessing in disguise. Yeah, Andrea Compagno.
This guy got called up?
He did not.
Compagno?
There were rumors that he might. But this other guy, Retegui, did, and I think he's going to start against England in a couple of days. Dude, I'm so fired up for this England game. I can't wait to fucking review this on the pod next week. Are we going to do a bonus pod?
It's just a qualifier, right?
I don't think so. I'm not going to promise things I'm not going to make promises I can't keep. It is a qualifier, dude. It's in Naples. I wanted to go to this game so fucking bad. No, it's insane. I can't wait to break that one down. We don't do a whole lot of like actual football talk on the pod anymore. This is more than we normally do, but like I'm going to talk about that one, man. Because here's the thing: there's something about this side that just does it for me. I don't know why, but I see names. I see Davide Fratesi, and I think 1999, 1999. Fucking, well, is he out? Right? How bad? How bad is it? You're saying nobody can hear D'Lo on camera, but yeah, how bad is?
Wasn't too serious, but they were gonna check it out.
Grifo got a call up.
I like him.
Freiburg's best.
I like him. I like him a lot. Here's the thing, man. Like, if you don't play in Italy, you often don't get a look in. But if you're doing well and you're Italian, you gotta fucking get a look in. The problem is there aren't a lot of Italians that leave, so it's easy to kind of get away with just looking like at the domestic league. But generally, it's not a bad idea to call up guys that are doing well in other leagues. I mean, you just give it a shot. It doesn't fucking cost anything. I legitimately think that guy Retegui is going to come on as a sub in Naples. And I think if he scores in Naples against England, an Argentinian-Italian guy in Naples, an Argentinian-Italian guy, bro, at the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona.
Oh yeah.
I think he's going to be grandfathered into the side for as long as he wants.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Have you talked about this before? Like why Italians seem to not really go abroad very often, and when they do, they kind of struggle. Not every single case, obviously.
I'm sure I talked about it. Yeah,
but I feel like I see a lot of Italians, like Scamacca, for example. They go somewhere.
I said he's doing when he went to England. I said he's fucked.
Yeah, because I feel like they leave, they do okay, and then they just come back.
I saw an article about that the other day, saying he, it's been a real tough start to life in England for him. He was living in a hotel for a while. Bro, he's 23 years old. He's 24 years old. That's ideal. I'd love to live in a hotel. Yeah. It's the best, Saying, his family life isn't settled in. Bro, he doesn't need a family life. He's got nothing but football.
Yeah.
What are you talking about,
But do you think that's it? Is they miss their like support system of their families?
I think it's no.
More than other nations?
Sometimes. I think in his case I think in a lot of cases it's it's a two-pronged problem rooted in inability to adapt. Rooted in inability to adapt. So what I mean by that is there's an inability to adapt to the style of play of the Premier League, which is a thing you see with a lot of other players, which isn't that unusual. Generally, the ones who adopt the best of the league are the ones who are elite, or in the case of smaller clubs, random guys who are just well recruited, who might eventually make a step up because they can play at the Premier League pace, or maybe they're good for a given club. Maybe they're old school, like, hoof it long, tall man. Remember like Glenn Murray or something, like he's scoring goals in the Premier League. He's not world class, but it just works.
Yeah.
So there's that, but otherwise generally you're just a world class player, man. You fucking just put it together and it works for you in England. A lot of other players are brought in with the opportunity to maybe try to scale up and they just don't make the jump. So that's the first problem, is just an inability to adapt to the different style of play. The other thing I would say is, to be honest, I think it's all to do with like inability to adapt to like just the culture of a different country, because Italians are so sheltered in Italy. I mean, they have no premise of what the rest of the world's like, and I know this because when I go there, have you been, Diallo? Do you not find that like you went recently? A couple years ago. Do you not find, maybe this is the case in Portugal too, I don't know, but I find Portuguese people speak English better than Italians do. Maybe that's because the education system's different there. Maybe I don't know, it's a smaller country.
Yeah.
Because Italy has like this complex of, I don't want to say Italy has a superiority complex. I don't think they do necessarily, but in some respects, like they're like, hey, listen, like we're still the best. Like what the fuck? I mean, I guess
Roman Empire.
I guess I'm describing like exactly what a superiority complex would be.
Yeah.
What I mean is, they're like, listen, I mean, we're proud to be Italian. We're happy to be Italian. We're happy to just be Italian among our other Italian fucking people. We don't need to try. Like sometimes there's fascination with foreign cultures, you know, sushi, China, America, but by and large, I think they know that like Italy is a country which has had a lot of historical impact on the world, and I think there is something of an Italian identity.
Yeah,
it's hard to make people kind of be nationalistic unless you kind of rally them around ideas like that. That's the only way that it's ever happened in Italy, because generally it's a pretty fragmented country in terms of regionalism and what's called campanilismo. A campanile is a bell tower, so it's like every fucking town is a bell tower, and it's like I'm a slave to that. Like I'm loyal to that bell tower. That's my town. There is a lot of that, but it's like there's Venetian pride because of the Venetian Republic. If you're in Tuscany, you hear a lot about like the town you're from and how old it is. So this is a very long-winded way of saying that I think they have their own bubble of culture that they're happy to live and exist within, because they don't have like an identity crisis where, for example, you're from India, you come over here to Canada, it's like you're kind of a little bit of both. You're in both worlds. There's less of that over there.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just where I'm from. So when they leave, it's just a little jarring. That's all. Like I've seen it when I go there. As a guy from here, I can blend into the North American world. I can blend into the rest of the West, the English speaking, you could go to England and you understand like Anglo-Saxon society and customs.
Yeah.
But if you go back to Portugal, you kind of understand, you pick up on some stuff, right, that you maybe just have absorbed a little bit that you don't necessarily always apply into your life. Maybe some of it's baked into you, but sometimes it's just, it's not necessarily stuff that you espouse or like will, exhibit in your behavior, but you'll go back and you'll be able to blend in or just understand cultural nuance.
Yeah.
They don't have that as much.
Okay.
You can go back and understand what's going on in the Mediterranean culture a little bit. Yeah. They leave there and they're like deer in headlights. It's generally. So it's a bit of both.
The reason I asked is because it's something that I noticed is that these Italian players, great Italian players, often end up just staying in Italy.
Yeah.
And the ones that do leave, there are, of course, exceptions that do well and end up succeeding abroad. But
Jorginho's done all right, but he's done all right. Yeah, but he's not,
He has that sort of
he doesn't
wanderlust already. He went from Brazil to Italy.
He doesn't have Italian parents. Yeah, he's adopted, right? So it's a little different. Yeah.
And the thing that I always think of is how English players are sort of similar in most respects. They almost have like this, they call it like the Little England syndrome, where they just want to like be in Britain, hanging out, the culture that they know. They don't want anything from the outside. And I feel like Italy kind of has that same sort of idea from what you're telling me.
Who travels the most? Who's the best traveled country of elite footballers? Probably
Brazilians?
France. Yeah, in Europe. Brazil, 100%. You're right. Sorry. In Europe. Let's say in Europe. I think it's France.
Yeah.
Kind of has to be, no?
Yeah. Portuguese are getting up there.
Those guys are
everywhere.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
That's like their number one export at this point.
The thing is, it's footballers.
Yeah.
Right foot, right boots. No, I think it's because the Portuguese league and the French league are just a little subpar, and now the Italian league's at a weird, dangerous point where it's kind of close, but not quite. Like when you're playing in the Italian league, I think there's still an opportunity to get fucking paid.
For sure,
there's an opportunity to be in a really competitive infrastructure. There's an opportunity to get respected because a lot of the clubs are seen as romantic and such. Not quite the same as being at I don't know, Braga.
Yeah,
decent side. People respect you, but it's like, all right, you're Braga in Portugal. You know what I mean?
You're not getting paid, like you said.
No. So I think Italy's kind of at a point where really they have the opportunity. They have every opportunity to grow to the point of English football. Maybe not quite, because the gap has been so huge. But like their ability to like create marketing revenue just sucks. But there's an opportunity to do so. They just don't take it. Feels like in French football, there's less of an opportunity to do that because of the product. There's some, but less of one.
Right.
You know, if we were to rank the leagues, right? So I think Italy's just good enough that it doesn't really fuck over their careers, you know? Maybe I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, they get to stay at home. They get paid well. You get to play at a high level. You get to play in the Champions League maybe if you reach one of the top clubs. Why not?
Yeah, I know. I hear you, man. I appreciate you doing this, man. This was
of course.
This was a cool hang. It was cool to do this in person. I really respect that you put the shades on for the bit, you know?
Yeah.
Just to kind of really cement like that which I saw when I opened the door. I'm really happy that we had like the moment of divine inspiration. I'm happy you pointed out the mandolin and said, "What is that?" And I was like, "Well, that's funny you ask." Turn around, spin, sir. So, all right. So where can the people get at you?
Just on YouTube, really. YouTube, search RabonaTV, and you'll find me there. I mean, I do have a Twitter account, but I mostly just read tweets. I don't really, Twitter's kind of whatever for me. Like, are you active on Twitter?
No, not anymore.
It's just a cesspool, man. You
Yeah.
know? You find yourself arguing with a no name from who God knows where. It's like at Anon 649829.
No. You need to, like I'm only gonna tweet if I have something to say, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm only gonna tweet if I think I got something locked and loaded that's gonna be like fucking that's gonna pop, you know. And then when it doesn't, I'm like, fuck it, I'm never tweeting again.
Yeah,
you know.
This is why I don't bother.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, RabonaTV on all platforms really, but mostly just YouTube. The rest is all pretty dusted.
Respect, bro. I appreciate you doing this. You can get at us on all platforms at Calcio Podcast. If you're new, you're on YouTube right now. Subscribe. We're breaking the 100 sub barrier right now. I think we're about to. That's triple digits, baby.
Yeah.
Where dreams are made of. 1 digit away from monetization. So if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. It helps us out a great deal. Like it, leave a comment, do what you got to do. You know, fucking the algo, whatever the hell. I don't know. Does it really help?
Liking?
Yeah.
Disliking apparently helps also in some ways, but I don't know. It
Make your
changes all the
voice
time.
heard.
Yeah,
just make your voice heard. Let
whether
us
you like it or not. Just
That's cool.
Whatever.
All right, bro. So again, thanks for doing this. Get at us on all platforms. Calcio Podcast. Subscribe if you're new. We have Italy games coming up this week. That's very exciting. I'm looking forward to breaking that down next week. Until then, listeners, we'll catch you soon. Alla prossima. Adrian, appreciate it, bro. Yes. Thank you.
Of course.
Ciao.
Thank you.